This is going to be a quick introduction to ProctorTrack. It's going to be a little bit longer tutorial than usual. It's broken into several sections. You'll notice this is a different color than our Blue Ridge. I'm doing this in what's called the sandbox. It's a different color, but it's going to work the same for you guys. Okay, with that said, first of all, I've got to put in the tool that is called ProctorTrack. So I'll just come over here and you go to Activities. You'll see there is a tool called ProctorTrack. Okay, I'm just going to click ProctorTrack a single time. It shows up there. I'll give it a name that makes sense to me, which is going to be ProctorTrack Dashboard. That's simply the name of the tool, so I can recognize it later. And I'm going to save and return to the course. Okay, and there it is. Now, I'm not going to set that up right now, but now that it's there, when I go to create a quiz, I'll have some options for that quiz that will recognize that ProctorTrack might be one way that I'd like to give this. So I'm just going to go to add another activity or resource. I'm going to choose quiz. And this is not a general quiz, it's an onboarding quiz. This is an exercise for them to be able to log in. When they do, they're going to have to show a picture ID so that we can also see their face, so we know the student is the student. And ProctorTrack will verify that the face that is in the ID is the face we're seeing. And if you know who your students are, you can also double verify that. With that said, this is just the onboarding exercise, so I'm going to call it that. The next thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to put in some information here that I want the students to see as they're taking that, and that is that they need to have a valid picture ID as they start the process for the reasons I said. Now I'm going to display that on the course page, and if I do that, then when they see, before they click into that, they're going to see this information right here saying, hey, have an ID, they're going to need it. Okay, now with that said, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go for the settings of the quiz itself. And these settings are crucial because you're going to need to duplicate those when you are putting in the entry on the dashboard side. So I'm just going to show you what you'll need to duplicate. You'll need to know the title, and you'll need to have the timing correct, and then there's extra restrictions on attempts. So 3 things you're going to have to go through and set those up, and then duplicate that information into the ProctorTrack tool itself. And then the timing is going to open up on the 29th at 7:30. It's going to close that same day at midnight, essentially 23:59. And I'm going to give them 30 minutes in case you're having some trouble trying to set this thing up. Okay. With that said, the only other thing I have to do is I come down here and I'm going to go to extra restrictions on attempts. What that means is it's going to require a password. This is important that I put in the same password here that I will put in the next section here. At the very bottom of this, please note that you also need to click Enable ProctorTrack for this quiz. And I hit Save and Return to Course. Then this section should be ready. Now what I like to do is I like to actually have this open in one tab and this open in another tab. So now I'm going to go to the dashboard and I'm going to say that I would like to manually add a test. And the first thing it asks for is the name, which I'll just cut and paste. And then course ID, it automatically knows the right course ID, so you don't have to worry about that. The next thing it asks for is a callback URL. That's the URL of the quiz itself. In order to get that number, I can just right click here because that's the link, and I can say that I would like to copy that link address. Or I can, if the quiz is already open, I can come up here and snag it from where the URL appears above. One way or the other, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say the callback URL, I'm pasting that in, is that. Okay, now the start at and the end at times have to be identical to what we have in the quiz itself. So if I don't recall those, I can come over and look at those. 23:59. And then for onboarding, I've got to have that selected because this is an onboarding exercise. So now I'm going to hit create the test. Okay, so now it says that it is an onboarding test and it's called the onboarding exercise, and it is an onboarding is on, so that is correct. And if I come out here, I see this and I see that. Now this I can put somewhere else. It doesn't have to sit right there. But when the students go to the exercise, they're actually going to be asked to log in a different fashion. I'll show you that in a moment.